Hello. Let's see. Let me show that chat. All right, it's recording. Okay, I'm gonna do a gallery view. Welcome. Yay. To January's new moon magical mothering method healing session. Hello. Yay. Welcome. All right, everybody's joining in. Okay. Gonna wait for everybody to join in. So I just muted everybody as everybody's joining in and getting situated. That way there's not a whole lot of background noise and things like that. Hello, look at you and your beautiful Christmas tree. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I love it. All right. So let's see, I absolutely love when there is something magical that falls on the 13th. So today is the new moon of January, the first new moon of the year. And we are going to do some really amazing and powerful visualizations with really creating space for what we want to bring in for the entire rest of the year and what we want to do over the next 5 and 10 years. And there's, the cat is so funny. She's like looking in the window. Hi, cat. She's like, I want to be a part of this. All right. So I'm going to give you guys each just like 2-3 minutes to kind of share where you're at. And if you need any specific support, you can kind of share that right now. And then we will hop into our healing and our visualization and do all of that awesome, fun stuff. So I'm just going to go in order. So Jackie is the first in line right here.
Hey everyone. I'm stuck on week 4. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I'm just jumping right to the chase. Okay. Let's cut to the chase, right?
Yes.
I'm stuck on week 4, trying to figure out the homework thing for the program. I just don't know.
So I'm pretty sure somebody else was stuck on week 4 as well with the marketing stuff because they didn't know what they were going to be doing or how they were going to be doing it. So I just told them to skip all of the last 4 sessions of the program until you get through all 7 chakras, and then, or at least until the 3rd eye, and then you can kind of go back and start integrating.
Okay, maybe maybe that'll help. Yeah,
you're redoing your whole foundation, so go through all of the 7 months, and then after you get your 3rd eye opened up and you have a really clear vision of how you're integrating your sacral, all that healing, then you can go back to just that last 4, the week 4 of each month, and go through and just integrate. Because
okay.
And I also am, as I'm doing these, I want you to think not just about marketing, but I want you to think of week 4 as integrating. So how can you integrate or experientially start living out what you learned in week 1 through 3?
Okay.
How can you integrate the lesson that you learned from the reprogramming? How can you integrate the healing that you got from your inner child? Does that make more sense?
I think so, yeah. Because like the first 2 thingies I did, I felt it was so promising because I saw that amazing me, like I said, walking down that beach and just the glow and my hair flowing, and it was just awesome. And I saw the little child and all the all the thingies, the meditations you help us through. I saw so much awesomeness that is going to come, but it's just like, okay, now I'm stuck. What the heck?
Yeah, and it could have been there was a lot going on. There was, you were traveling and all that kind of stuff. So just dive into week 5. Just jump into week 5. And if you need to be skipping the last week 4 of each month because the marketing thing is throwing you off, you're not quite out of marketing yet. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Okay.
At integration. So just imagine that marketing is really all about integrating and absorbing and living what it is that you're learning and experiencing.
Okay, that makes more sense, and I hope that'll be more helpful then.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. And yeah,
cool.
just jump into week 5, jump into week 6, and just you've got this. So if you get stuck on a week and you're feeling really stuck, or even stuck on a whole chakra, go to the next month and start and you might need more. We might need to dive in a little bit more with that specific chakra, but you can keep moving on each week, and that way you're creating space for yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Of course. All right, Leandra.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I just started week 13, so I'm just over here basking in unconditional love.
I love it. I love it. Week 13 on January 13th. New moon, new beginnings. Yes. I love it. I love it. And so Leandra shared in her text message that she was just like beaming. So it's really amazing when you get to that point where you go, wow, this is integrating, this is shifting, this is creating some good change. So awesome. And anything else going on, or are you like ready to jump in and you're excited about?
I'm just excited and ready to jump in.
Perfect. All right. Love it. Okay. I'm going to move on to Sandy.
Hello. I am on, I believe it's week 23.
Okay. Awesome.
And I haven't really done any of them because I've been dealing with a lot of different emotions and different energies that I have been working through. And I didn't want to get confused by doing the meditations that you have for us. So I've been dealing with the throat, third eye, and the crown to try to get these emotions separated and figure out who they're coming from.
Okay. Oh, you just reminded me.
That's where I'm at.
I was going to grab a chunk of selenite to have to kind of just release. So I'm going to go run and grab that chunk of selenite real fast. I will be right back. So Sandy, thank you for saying that. I will be right back. right, I almost slipped into the new year. All right, here we go. Okay, selenite. So I just got this ice or clear selenite, and it's so interesting that literally each one looks like a knife, and selenite is really for that, like cutting off, releasing, neutralizing. And this crystal clear selenite is not just a neutralizer, but it can actually be used in ritual. Unlike satin spar or the Moroccan selenite that's solid white, it's kind of like the difference between crystal clear quartz and quartzite or white, solid white quartz. You could just feel it more energetically. Whereas white quartz is amazing, healing and things like that. It still has amazing properties. It's not as programmable. So I found that with the crystal clear selenite, this is a more programmable selenite. So you can actually neutralize and really find the source of where or who the emotions are coming from or through. So I'm going to be holding this for all of us this session and really allowing for the emotions that are not ours, for it to be very clear where or who they are coming from. If they're coming from a collective or from a global consciousness, I want our third eye or our mind to pick up on that very clearly and intuitively. If our emotions are coming from a very specific person, maybe a partner or somebody that we keep coming in contact with, or our children or something like that, I want it to be very clear. So I'm programming this for everybody that is here present right now and who may be watching the recording at a later date, to have crystal clear, intuitive knowing, to be able to put a pin to a piece of paper and write down collective or a person's name, okay? So while I'm holding this, and Sandy, I'm so grateful you brought this up, because yesterday I literally had to grab the selenite and cut off the emotion, because I was like so angry yesterday. I had to literally cut off the emotion. I was like, okay, I held that all day. Whose was that? Thanks for letting me share that. So I would love for everybody to maybe do this with their emotional aspects right now. And even Leandra, knowing that you're in a very new emotional state of unconditional love, knowing that, is that from the collective? Is that from the magical mother? Is that from the divine? You know, is that from the 13th chakra? Knowing very clearly where that is coming from is really amazing, because then you can immediately tap into that energy again. Or for those of us who are tapping into something that is not actually resonating with us on a level we want to be, we can cut that and come back to our own neutrality. Does that make sense? So it can go either way. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Sandy, thank you so much. That is so huge. And I think that is heightened emotions right now. That's exactly what I wrote as to what I wanted to cover in sessions. So you are absolutely in alignment, my sister. You're right where you're right where we all are. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I would love for you to just pick it up. And as I'm just going through and scanning and cutting and really releasing from our crowns, really just only connecting with source energy, cutting anything in our mindsets that are no longer serving us, just allowing for the selenite to really cut off anything that is not of us. I'm going to go down into the sacral and cut off any anger, resentments, into the heart space and betrayals or unforgiveness. And then I want you to put that pin to the paper and write down exactly where, and for Jackie O, it would be like this uncertainty, this stuckness. Where is that emotion coming from? Is it coming from the collective? Is it coming from a child at a certain age within yourself? Is it coming from maybe an experience? Is it coming from a partner? So just really intuitively go into that space of not thinking, but just pen to paper. All right, Sandy, I'm going to unmute you and see what came through.
Oh, it's coming from the loss of a friend that I didn't get to say goodbye to due to COVID, and still dealing with the loss of my daughter Destiny that I lost 8 days after I had her, and from JR being hurt by his son not reaching out to him when he reaches out to him. So I'm picking up a lot of JR's emotions.
Yeah. And then finding very clearly that some of those emotions are for you to really finally feel.
Yeah, because when I lost my daughter, I don't even think I cried. I was just in that gotta be strong mode.
Yeah. And so for you, I would really love for you to go back to the breaking of the heart session.
Okay.
And do that specifically with that stay strong, stay tough, that hardening, that like shell that had to immediately go over your heart because of the pain that would have come through in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And go and go create space for that heartache to be set free.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is going to be something that is going to, that going back to that heart, breaking the heart session is going to be something that as we progress through this year, we are going to be losing a lot of friends and family. This is not done yet. So allowing for our hearts to not become hardened through this, but to know that we can love them and we can create space for them and we can connect with them and receive guidance maybe more so than when they were in the physical as our friend, and allow for that transition to happen for us as well as them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I would really love for you to, you have the abilities to connect with Destiny. I would like for you to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will do that.
Yes, and it's going to be know that there's going to be emotion, but there's going to be a lot of healing that comes with you seeing that she has been in your journey ever since that moment that she left her physical body. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy, for sharing. I really appreciate that. All right. Jackie O, would you like to share? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Ask to unmute. I will stop pressing it.
You hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, it's pretty obvious. It's the divorce up and coming, whenever that may be. My who I call him my monster. Not really the husband, because yeah. Anyway, and I feel the uncertainty of the future right now, for me, and then like you've said, collectively as a whole of our world, you know, in light of what is going on. And as you know, doing the lifestyle that we do, it might get pretty scary out here, you know.
So
Those were like my three things that came with the stuckness.
yeah, so you're feeling your own uncertainty, a collective uncertainty, and then you're also feeling a pull to stay connected to that monster or that thing that held you in that relationship for so long. So
Well, I don't think there's the pull to stay, because
No.
that's been over quite a while ago. It's
Right,
just a matter of, please release me.
yes.
You
Well, that's
know,
what I'm
let's
saying.
get
There's
on with
still
it already.
that tug, because there's still, he is still not allowing for that to be cut. So
Yeah.
I really want to, when we go into our visualization for planting our garden for the year, spiritual and personal growth garden,
Cool.
I really want to see your garden almost on like an island. Okay, I want your garden, and it's not that you're going to be isolated, but I really want you to have your own like amazing magical Blue Lagoon or whatever that movie, like your own space to really tend and nurture, and it not be connected with, you know, the personal growth of your partner any longer. Like he is on his own journey now. And to see
Yeah.
that very, very clearly in this visualization, that with this new moon, you will have your own personal growth, spiritual journey that is no longer connected to his personal growth or spiritual journey any longer. Like right now, cutting off that he is on his own path, no longer leeching onto you for his personal growth.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. 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 All right. Leandra.
Well, the last several weeks before I started the heart chakra was the solar plexus. And I kept being drawn back to that pillar of light to go up and talk to my higher self. And I feel like I never really had that person growing up, or even now as an adult, to go and ask advice or ask questions. So I've been using that as kind of a tool I'll write down my questions and then go into that pillar of light and kind of go in and access that way.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, the pillar of light is such a powerful tool. And when I first learned about that pillar of light, it was from a book called Energy Vampires, or How to Get Rid of Energy Vampires, or it had a really weird name, but it was an incredible resource. And she had actually gotten, she was getting mugged, and she had like a gun to her head or a knife to her throat or something. It was like a really dangerous situation. And she actually used that pillar of light visualization and went into the pillar of light and ascended into that higher self realm. And the muggers literally walked away while she
probably didn't know what to think.
I mean, what a different energy. Somebody who's scared and fearful, and then to step into this space of just total love and knowing, and no fear, no anxiousness. And they can't steal that energy. Nobody can steal your energy when you're in that pillar of light space. So that is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge.
I have found though that the more healing I do on myself, and the more energy and the more happiness or love, it seems like people do come after it more. Like people that are hurting or people that are sad will call and be like, can I come by and get a drink or have a cup of coffee with you? Like they just want to, they want to get some of that or something.
And that's where it's really important to have, to know when you are sharing and you're in a space that it feels really in alignment to share, and then to be very mindful of when you're being leached from.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And that's when really emotionally for this like year to be really mindful that you're coming from a place of overflow whenever, and if you need to say, no, today's not a good day, maybe we can schedule next week, but really creating really amazing boundaries of overflow so that you're constantly in this space of overflow rather than giving from a place of depletion or giving them the last bit of your energy. And so and that's going to be a really powerful practice anyway, because I know that you are going to start working with individuals. That is going to be something in your path, maybe one of the trees that you end up planting as one of your long-term goals. But starting to really practice that now, that when people come around, that you're just listening and letting it flow down into the ground, and then allowing for, like, I'm very different in person when I'm hanging out with friends. I'm not like going through visualizations. Jackie O knows. I'm not like going through visualizations and doing a lot of healing work. I'm a friend. I'm just listening, and we're chatting and we're having conversation, because I learned that if I always was in that space of giving healing or reprogramming, there was no context for it, and it almost made individuals like not have as much growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Creating space to have really good boundaries of, oh, this is a friend coming over to chat, and then being very clear of maybe asking, are you looking for, some change in your energy? Are you looking for some support with your emotional, really asking questions so that people become aware of why they're in your space.
And that's good too, because I'm so excited right now that I have a hard time reeling it in and not wanting to be like, oh my God, let me tell you about this.
Yes. And that's me. And it's great practice too, though, because you may just be like, hey, can we set up something where I can actually share this healing with you, but make it very clear. Make it a boundary of, are you coming over to chit chat over coffee, or do you want to come over and I can practice new things that I'm learning on you?
Okay.
So having very clear, because that was something that my boundaries were very much my friends. I was working with them and working on them, and there was no, and then I felt bad when I wasn't just giving, you know what I mean? It's
well, and that's hard when it is your friends too. And of course, that's who you're going to start with, because those are the people that are around you.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And just making it really clear that these are things that I'm learning, and, this is all I want to start practicing. And so, but when you come over for coffee, I really just want to be able to chit chat openly and have a,
Mhm.
you know, and you don't even need to express that, but you, in
Yeah.
your awareness, know that it's a two-way conversation
Mhm.
when somebody's coming to visit, not them just pouring, but being mindful to reciprocate your
Okay.
own journey.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So I'm so excited. Perfect. We're about halfway through. So we are going to jump into our visualization. And as I was just having my connection with the Divine Mother this morning, it was so clear that the new moon is always the time to plant seeds. And that's kind of the darkness is like the soil. And so as I was sitting there, I saw this beautiful garden. And I realized that we're all in different phases of our spiritual gardens right now, or our personal development gardens. So some spaces in our garden maybe have these big, beautiful trees, like our children, you know, that have been growing in our lives, and they're healthy and they're strong. And then some parts of our garden maybe have really rocky or sandy soil where nothing's really growing. All of the things that we're learning are just draining right through. And so as I'm walking us through this garden visualization, I really want it to be an experiential aspect of each thing that we have an intention of planting is felt mind, body, spirit. That way we can go through and really create this dynamic new space for ourselves and in our lives, so that we can literally at the end of the year look at our gardens, see what we have harvested, see our fruits of our labor, and really create the next year of making sure that we're watering those. And so this is going to be something that we're going to add on to in each of these monthly healing sessions, of just taking a moment to really allow for us to be mindful of what we are growing in our lives and how much control we really have as to what we have bloom and blossom and plant in our space. So if you're ready, we'll close our eyes. All right. So just get really present. I'm going to continue to hold this selenite to just clear away anything that is not of us or our desires or what is for our highest and best. And I want you to begin to imagine that this spiritual or personal growth garden is something that is going to continue to be a part of your life, not just in this moment, but for the next years to come. So knowing that while some things that you plant will be harvested and eaten up this year, other things that you plant, such as the trees, are going to stay in this garden for 5, 10, 20, 50 years. And so knowing that you have the opportunity to really plant seeds right now that are going to allow for your unfoldment over the course of many, many years to come. And so I want you to just begin to imagine your spiritual garden. And I want you to see that there are some trees, like I said. Those are children and partners. And maybe there's some trees that need to be cut away. Maybe there's lifetime friends that are trees that you've had for many years. And you can see the health of those trees. You can see that some of those friendships or your children are healthy and strong and vibrant. And then you can maybe see other trees that maybe are overtaking your garden, or really pushing in on the boundaries, and maybe they need to be hedged back or clipped back or uprooted and completely removed. So if there is any sort of relationships that you are not wanting to bring in to this new year, just simply uproot that entire tree and transplant it to their own, give that tree back to that own person's personal spiritual garden. And so I want you to see that there's an opportunity right now to plant some new trees. And I want you to see the trees as your long-term goals. These are goals that are going to be growing over the next 5 or 10 years, but they need a lot of water, a lot of time. They need a little bit longer to really take a solid root and to grow firmly until they really start producing fruit. So I want you to begin to start thinking about those long-term goals, the goals in 5 and 10 years that you will have fruit from, and that will be very abundant and prolific, and knowing that it's going to take a little bit of time for those to really reach maturity. And then after these trees, and I will, so that you don't have to feel like you have to write this all down, I will make sure to make up a little PDF for this that I will post in the Magical Mothering Method to go along with this visualization, so that you can go through and write down everything and listen to the recording again if that's something that you feel you need to do. So just get really present right now, and then know that you'll have that workbook to go through. Next, I want you to see what kind of soil is in your spiritual garden. I had mentioned earlier that maybe there's some places in your life that are just like this beautiful compost that you can plant immediately in. And then maybe there's some other areas of your life where there's just boulders and rocks. And I want you to see these boulders and rocks as drama or things that really stop you in your tracks. Maybe there's some coping skills that are no longer serving you. And so see these boulders and rocks in your soil as things that when you get to them, they take a lot of time to undig and reprogram. And so they're kind of keeping you from really just allowing you to dig in the soil and have a plentiful garden. And I want you to identify those aspects of drama, or maybe really identify that when you get to one of these boulders, that maybe you have like this magic, maybe you're using selenite and you're just vaporizing these boulders now, or maybe you're really lovingly picking up these boulders and these rocks and creating a whole Zen rock garden from them and using them to create beauty rather than using them to hold you back anymore. Okay, so however that resonates with you, take and start identifying the drama or the coping skills or those things that every time you go to move forward, they're stopping you. Every time you dig your fingers in the soil, it's stopping you. And then I want you to see if there's any areas of your spiritual garden that are filled with soil. And I want you to see the soil as energy drains. I want you to see that whatever's planted there, or whatever water, whatever you do in that space, it's just getting soaked right up and the energy is just going right out of it. And I want you to see all areas of your life right now to see if there's any patches of soil or any of the aspects of your life that are soil that are really just draining, that you're putting energy into and it's just soaking right in. Nothing's becoming fruitful in that space. Nothing is really growing. And I want you to really allow for that area of sand. I want you to bring in some clay. I want you to bring in some compost from here. I want you to bring in things that have lessons. So I want you to see any compost areas of your garden to really be the lessons that you have learned, the things that you've really tilled over the past few months that we've been working through the past few years. I want you to see areas of compost as areas of your life that you've really become very aware of, that you've done a lot of work with, that you've really created, you've made awareness and healthy steps. And those areas of compost, I want you to really bring in to these other areas of your life. Pull these lessons into those areas that maybe the energy is just draining out of. Or maybe make that area, that sand pit, a volleyball court. Make it just for play and just stop getting it sucked into the energy of it, and allow for that space to be whatever it is. And when you want to play in that area, you can, but otherwise it just stays in a space that maybe that's where you lay out in the sun. It's your little beach space, and you don't have to try so hard to fix it all the time. So I want you to go into these areas of compost, these areas where you've learned the lessons, where you've really created a solid, way of knowing and being and doing the work in these areas of your life. And I want you to imagine that each different type of seed that you're going to be planting, you have maybe hundreds of seeds that you want to plant this year, between friends and ideas or places that you're going, or ideas or healing aspects or integration. And with all of these seeds, I want you to see what feels best for you as an individual, as how you want to organize them. So for me, I really love throwing everything into the garden together and letting it just grow wild, and like letting everything uptake and let some weeds get in the mix, and I find out they're edible and I love it. But that might not feel or resonate with you. And so I want you to see that maybe you need very neat, tidy rows in your garden. Maybe you need to have a very clear outline. And so maybe you need a very clear, like the Bringing the Wild Within planner. Maybe you need a really clear planner or organizer to really write down and organize all of your ideas. Or maybe you like to group things together. Maybe you want to group all of these goals for winter. Maybe you want to group all these goals for spring, or group all these goals for summer. So I want you to take a look at how you want to organize your goals right now. Do you want to plant one seed a week? Do you want to plant them all right now? Do you want to plant a few things that resonate with you right now, and then wait until next month and build upon your garden each month? I want you to really see that the ways to do this are endless, and I want you to trust within what is the best way for you to do this. And when you have your ideas of how you're going to organize them and how you're going to create space, I want you to spend this week really organizing them, writing them down, getting them very clear and concise. And the last thing I want to look at is if there's any disease or bugs in your garden. Now, I want you to see the disease and the bugs in your garden as mindsets that are no longer serving you. And I want you to kind of look in the past, that if you've started other goals or started other aspects and kind of would wind up sabotaging them or getting side railed or anything like that, I want you to really look at those mindsets and to be mindful that you're going to have to visit your garden often. You're going to have to pluck the bugs off that are going to try to eat the fruit that you're planting. You're going to have to be mindful that, you don't overwater it and make it moldy, that it's not going to dehydrate, or you're not going to water it and it's going to die. So I want you to be really mindful that your garden needs to be tended, whether it's this beautiful wild garden or a very organized garden. It still needs to be tended. And it needs to be spoken to and talked to and looked over, and seeing if what you have needs some support. Just like if you're growing cucumbers, they can just kind of take over, and you may need to, trellis them, or tomatoes. They might need support as they get bigger and bigger and bigger throughout this year, knowing that as things are fruiting and growing throughout the year, they may need more support. They may need to be upheld. They may need a new coping skill. They may need to invite others in to join in. And so now that you have all of these aspects that you've seen very clearly, you can now go into this year really with a very clear outline and goals and intentions in a way that you can visualize them with clarity and ease and grace. And so when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into this space. And I am seriously so excited to see how each individual kind of like shares. So if you want to like map out your garden on a piece of paper with all your kind of spiritual, if you want to like kind of draw it out, if you want to write it out, I would absolutely love for you to snap a picture of it and to share it in the Magical Mothering Method group, because I really want to take the time to really tend this. We have an opportunity right now to really create space for the whole year. And I feel like this could be one of those posts in and of itself that we kind of like add to all year. Like, hey, I watered this goal and it grew, and this is what is coming from it. And we can really encourage and create space for each other in a way that feels really light and allowing for ourselves. And so all of these aspects are really important. We need to make sure that we're watering our garden. We need to make sure that we're caring for it. We need to make sure that we're doing these things. And I feel like if we see it as a garden rather than just self-care, we're going to do it a little bit more. Because sometimes when we say, oh, we need to do self-care, that gets pushed to the back of the list. But if it's our spiritual garden, I feel like that has a little bit more of a sacredness that we can actually go into and really tend and create space for. So does anybody have anything that they would like to share about what they saw or what they experienced during this visualization?
Well, I was already thinking about the uprooting of something when you said that. So I'm excited to plant that, get the uprooted tree out of there and plant a new tree.
Yeah, it's, uprooting a tree is not necessarily easy. Do you know what I mean?
Process, yeah.
It's a process, and sometimes you have to, we don't necessarily, we don't necessarily want to cut them down, but that may have to happen so that they can be transplanted somewhere else. So, yes, and Jackie O too. You guys are both kind of going in that space and really seeing your space as your space now.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is really, it's a really powerful aspect. So, thank you. Yeah. And I'm excited about this aspect of the uprooting of the trees, because there is something to that, of really knowing that there's roots everywhere, and some trees, even if you cut them down, they'll just sprout right back up, right?
Right. Which has happened.
Right. And we no longer want the same trees to be growing in our space. We don't want to necessarily just have the same kind of tree pop right back up into our life. So really taking care to get every root out of that space, and knowing that that removal is going to be a little tedious, and it can be a little painful, and it can be hard, but allowing for all of those feelings and the blood, sweat, and tears to go into that, to really create that space for us again. So good. Thank you for sharing. All right, does anybody else have anything that they would like to share from their visualization that they got? So, all right. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to take the time right now when we end this session to go and write up a little PDF with all of this. And that way it's something that can be referred to throughout the year. Because I really am so very excited about really having clarity in this. And as I'm doing this, I'm almost seeing it as a visualization or a PDF that is going to really follow us in these healing sessions month to month. That is going to create a lot of space for us to get very clear and very intuitive in our knowing of what it is that we're pulling in and growing in our lives. So as it's getting busier here, I'm really grateful for you to show up, for being here, and for creating space for this. And I'll see you guys in the Facebook group. And so please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.
Bye.